Nice to finally meet you, and thank you again for the appointment here today, where I can learn more about your company and help you and help your business grow. I'm DJ Russell.
Nice to meet you. I'm Dr. Daniel Page.
Okay. Now, for the next 20 minutes, I would like to treat this more like an information gathering session, so I can fully understand the needs and provide a solution to them. Would you mind if I take notes?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Now, before we get things started, I'd like to get to know a little bit about the background of your business. Is this your only location?
No, we actually have a second location in Peachtree City that employs another 15 staff member, in addition to the 20 we have here at the Newman office.
Okay. I didn't know about your second location, but those two locations, is there any projects to expand?
Assuming everything stays on track, we intend on adding another 5 employees to the Peachtree City office, and then constructing a brand new office in Tyrone in the next couple of years.
Okay, Tyrone. So let me get this correct. Right now, you employ 35 people. At the moment, within the next couple of years, you plan to increase that to 60 people. Is that correct?
Assuming the third office opened, yes, we would need roughly 20 workers at each location. You're correct.
Okay. Well, as I said, I am from ADP. Are you aware of what we do, who we are as a company?
Somewhat.
Okay. Well, we are a software company that specializes in payroll solutions for startup businesses and small businesses to eliminate a lot of the headaches and time consumption and management that managing your payroll systems individually tends to cause. ADP is the world's largest provider in outsourcing and solutions to HR, payroll, benefits, and taxes. Partnering with ADP gives you the latest and greatest HR technology. Now, I have been working for ADP for the past 7 years, and it's been amazing. I have to tell you, I've been able to help hundreds of small business owners like yourself spend more time with their families and focusing on other aspects of their business other than pesky payroll, which can give a lot of people some headaches.
We definitely had a lot of those headaches, especially in the payroll category.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit more specifically about payroll. Tell me, who does the payroll for your business?
My wife, Ellen Page, is single-handedly responsible for all the payroll-related tasks.
And would you consider this a part-time job for her, or is it more full-time?
Initially, she started doing payroll when we first opened on just a part-time basis, but as we've expanded and taken on a growing number of employees, the payroll tasks have consumed a lot of her time and have basically pushed it to a full-time occupation. We've actually considered hiring individuals strictly to manage the payroll, so my wife may actually have some of that time back that she's losing.
Okay. Well, I have to say, that's just another added expense to your list. I can see how this adds up unneeded stress for your personal well-being as well as your business. Do you think that would affect your plans of expansion moving forward?
If we needed to add another individual, it would definitely put a damper on our time frame we set for expansion. It definitely wouldn't simplify it.
Okay, I see. I'm assuming when she first took the workload, you were only at the one location, so the workload wasn't anywhere near what it is now. Is that correct?
You're correct. We initially only had the Newman office.
Okay, and if you don't mind me asking, do you guys have kids?
Yep, we have 2 children, both under the age of 10.
Okay, well, there's another issue as well. It seems the time your wife could be spending with your children is being used up to keep the payroll and your business in line. Do you mind if I ask you what kind of software your wife uses?
Not at all. The software we're using is called Microsoft Dynamics.
I'm familiar with that. Do you know how costly the product was initially and is now to upkeep?
Initially, I'm not certain what we paid for the product, but every year we have to spend about $1,500 to upgrade the software and remain current.
Holy smokes! That's a lot for a small business owner. Obviously, every little bit counts when you're not a big corporation. Now, tell me, is this software easy to learn? Do you have to enter the information in manually, or is it automatic?
The software is easy to get the hang of. It just doesn't do a lot of things we would like to be able to do. And the worst part is the amount of time it takes to do such simple tasks because of typing everything manually.
So you mentioned the amount of time it takes. Roughly how much time does it take Ellen each pay period?
Well, she told me that it takes roughly 3 minutes to total each time card and another hour to key in the payroll to the system. After that process of cutting stuff in checks, it takes another 2 hours for all the employees.
Wow, that's a lot for one woman. So in all, it takes her about 5 hours just to do the payroll every other week. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact number, but that number is definitely in the ballpark.
Okay. Now, if I were to go ahead and multiply that number by 26 for the amount of time to do that payroll over the course of the year, that number comes out to be 130 hours a year. Now, that's just writing time cards, keying in the payroll data. Definitely a big chunk of time. Now, that number, 5 hours every other week, that assuming everything goes perfect and smoothly, does your wife ever face any problems while she carries out these processes?
Oh, of course. Unfortunately, every pay period, there's roughly 4 or 5 problems with checks that require us to void them out, recalculate the proper amount, and correct the error we made. There are also errors made just reading the time card.
I can imagine. From my time working at ADP, I realized that people don't have the best handwriting. Have any of your employees ever complained about this? I feel as if that could definitely affect employee morale if they were to feel they are not getting compensated correctly every pay period.
There have been complaints, but we always correct checks and get them what they've earned. We just don't want the employees to be concerned over whether their checks are correct or not. And with our current system, we obviously can't do that.
I understand. Now, assuming you didn't have to deal with the payroll anymore, how would you reallocate all the time you guys now have?
Well, I like to think my wife would take advantage of all the free time, spend it with our kids, but at the same time focus on growing our business as a whole and not just dealing with the payroll process.
Okay. Sounds great. Now, back to the software. How does it handle paid time off?
That's easy. Doesn't handle paid time off at all.
If that's the case, how do you handle your paid time off?
Well, we use another Microsoft program, Microsoft Excel, and we will go in, sum up the number of hours each employee has in paid time off based on their seniority within the company.
And when are your employees able to see that?
Every other month, we go in and update everyone's PTO balance and then send out a report once the numbers have been summed up.
Every other month? That's not very frequent. I can imagine you have a lot of employees calling in to inquire about how much paid time they have more frequently than every other month.
Yeah, because it takes so much time to keep it updated, we don't do it as often as we'd like. So when someone calls in, we are forced to make a calculation on the fly.
On the fly, I can imagine there's some errors with a method like that. Have you ever messed up a calculation by a few hours or so?
On occasion, yes, but the main problem is employees using their PTO before they've actually earned it. Then something happens that they're terminated or they leave the business, and we end up eating that money that we've already paid them for PTO, which they didn't earn yet.
I can imagine that adds up very quickly. More money that goes down the drain, in my opinion. Now, with your current software, are you able to generate all the reports you'd like to be able to?
Not necessarily. All the reports we generate are very simple, and a lot of extra calculations and work are needed if we want the reports that are actually useful to us.
I see. Now, let me address the issue of taxes. Does Ellen handle her tax deposits, W-2s, quarterly filings, and has she ever had any problems doing so?
Yeah, Ellen handles all the tax responsibilities, and we've been penalized one time 4 years ago for late reporting. We're forced to pay a fine.
Okay, Dr. Page, from what I've gathered, I understand the majority of the problem you're facing is time consumption. But at the same time, you're enduring a lack of simplicity in your current system, a loss of money due to errors from the system, a cutting and stuffing checks, great deal of stress on your wife, and with the increasing amount of responsibility she's taking on. Would you be interested if I told you I had a system that could alleviate all of these problems?
Of course, as we expand, the work's just going to be more and more.
Great. Well, firstly, I'd like to address the issue of payroll. I understand that Ellen has taken a great deal of her time calculating time cards, keying in data, and then cutting and stuffing checks. With ADP, which is an online-based system, it allows your payroll to be automatically calculated anytime and anywhere. The payroll cards can be sent directly to our people at ADP, and your payroll will be automatically calculated and viewed at any time, taking a lot of responsibility off of your wife's hands. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, that sounds great. I know she'd love all that extra time.
Yeah. Well, now, I remember that you had mentioned in expansion earlier in the conversation. With our software, we eliminate all the sorting through the resumes. We do pre-screening and background checks for you based on special hiring criteria that you guys give us. So it fits the criteria that you're looking for best in a future employee. Does that sound beneficial to you?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, now let me get into the tax services of ADP. What our tax service does is automatically calculate each tax for you. We know all federal, state, and local jurisdictions and their regulations, which I know has been proven hard to keep up with. Also, instead of paying one large sum of tax money at the end of each year, we allocate all the costs over the years so you're not hit really hard with a big amount to come up with in such a short period of time come tax season.
All this sounds great, but can I address a few concerns of my own?
Of course, go right ahead, Doctor.
A number of my colleagues who run their individual practices have mentioned that the customer service for ADP just isn't the greatest. How do I know that I will receive good service and won't be treated as just another customer?
Well, Dr. Page, first I would like to appreciate your concern, but within the last 5 years, we have fixed the problem in our customer service structure to increase our customer retention rate now to 90%. We now ensure that our client is the most important priority to us. There is no bigger compliment, sir, than repeat business. Now, if you ask me, if need be, I could arrange a meeting with a current client and have them explain what they think of our current customer service performance.
I may just take you up on that. Additionally, I'm hesitant to commit because you mentioned the entire system was automated. My wife, Ellen, isn't the most technologically savvy person out there. So I feel that she'd be a bit nervous against the change because a lot will be new to her.
Well, the great news is that with ADP, it offers an entire implementation team. So basically, when you sign up for the system, we have an entire team that comes in and walks you through step by step the ins and outs of the entire system. We also have various demos of the software after the initial walkthrough with our team. So if your wife is still shaky on how to carry out specific tasks, she can go in that route.
That all sounds very nice, but lastly, there's the issue of costs. How much would a product like this cost me?
Well, I don't have an exact quote with me here today, but I can assure you, based on the numbers that you've given me that I've run today, the software will offer you a cut that will cut your costs virtually in half. In addition, ADP has been shown to free up 60% of a worker's time from doing payroll. This time, in fact, can then be reallocated to other business-related tasks, which then can increase your profit rather than calculating payroll and other miscellaneous tasks.
I would look forward to getting that exact quote on the software sometime.
Okay. Well, I understand you're a very busy man, so I'll let you go at this time. But how would you like to arrange a second meeting in the near future to discuss more of the specifics to ADP?
That sounds great. I'll be meeting with my secretary and arrange a second meeting next week.
Great. I will do just that. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you as well.